But look, freedom of speech is expensive.
Learn to have your opinion and express your opinion, and you can express both sides. You can express what you've heard from conservatives. You can express what you've heard from libertarians. But don't argue with motherfucking me, because I'm not even against you.
But here's what
not once have I been against you.
But here's the thing.
That's when it sounds stupid. Like, you can state your opinion and show both sides based off what you think without arguing with motherfuckers.
When you listen back to this episode, you will see that I did exactly that.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
You went crazy. I think something's wrong with Andrew. I think Andrew's on medication.
I understand what Andrew's saying, but I think to pull the camera back another...
You will see I did exactly that.
Sky view.
And you also see that I never disagreed with you.
But what you think we're doing is having an argument. I'm just curious as to how you rationalize something. And I'm just asking you.
There's a difference between asking a
arguing.
question and then saying, you don't even have a motherfucking answer to it. I'm like... I don't have an answer because I don't care. Like, we're not arguing.
But that's my reaction.
It's one thing to have asking a curious
getting
question,
defensive and being and kind of like being borderline, like throwing jabs at me when I'm just curious about your worldview.
And you always like to do this dumb shit where you say some salacious shit, you say some contrarian shit, you admit to being a contrarian, and then act like the person that you're talking to is the crazy one. Like, I'm throwing jabs at you.
But you were. I didn't say anything personally insulting about you. I didn't call you names or anything like that.
I specifically screamed at you, I agree, and you just was like, but agree on what?
We're not agreeing. It's not anything. I'm asking you about your life. It's like me going, okay, so what was it like going to school in Moncks Corner, South Carolina? And of course, well, there's times
when I'm wrong. Are you willing to
admit
that you're wrong?
Absolutely, there's times.
When's the last time you admitted you were wrong?
On this show, I'm trying to think. I admitted I was wrong recently on the show, and I came back the next week. I had something. It was the rap thing where you hit me up, and the next week I was so off about that. It was when I was in California. Remember, I tweeted something crazy, and then No.
Was it the Migos?
No. I tweeted something crazy.
Oh, the Remy Ma Nicki thing.
Was it Remy Ma? Yeah, I was so off on the Remy Ma Nicki thing, and the first thing I did when we had the conversation, I said, listen, Charlamagne hit me up, he explained the situation, and I jumped off too fast, and I did it.
But you do realize you're not always right about anything. Those are just your views and your opinions. Are you comfortable with that? Are you comfortable knowing that you may not always be right?
Absolutely. Charlamagne, my goal with this show so often is to prove or is to showcase that there are multiple opinions that have rightness to them. Like, these people who are against abortion have rightness to them. These people that are pro, like you and I, have rightness to us.
And that's fine.
But truthfully, that should be the secondary goal. The first goal for this show, just be fucking funny and have fun, because that's what people come for.
I'm not a fucking comedian.
Yeah,
I don't tell jokes. I tell the truth.
Yeah.
But Chris, now is the time to tell Andrew everything that we be saying all the time when he's not around, since we're having this intervention.
I understand what Andrew's saying, but I think the point is you got to disengage at a certain point. If Charlamagne's not picking up on what you're saying, or if someone,
I agree. We can let it go. We can stay too long.
Keep it moving. That abortion topic. I mean, we're doing like on show prep on the air right now, but like.
No, but this is
good. It's fine.
This is a good discussion.
These people have made the Brilliant Idiots podcast popular over the past couple of years.
Saying we shouldn't.
They've shown concerns, so we need to have the conversation.
And it's important that they see what's going on. And
but don't keep trying to hit the same point a million.
I don't even know what the point is, because I'm not against them.
I understand what you're saying.
But you think the argument? It's not even an argument.
Like, how come when you said the drone strike thing, and I go, yeah, absolutely right.
I agree with you. Yeah.
So I don't even know how we took a turn.
But even now, I think there's a miscommunication in terms of what I want from you. It's.
So what do you want from me?
I just want clarity in terms, or maybe you haven't thought about it yet, and you don't know
when it comes
to
what
about it. But it was just, when do you think it should be okay to have an abortion? When is a baby abortable? I don't want to get into it because
that's a whole other question.
I think he told you just don't like his answer.
Exactly, and that's what I told you earlier, Schulz. You will say Charlamagne's being PC or whatever simply because you don't like my answer. I told you what I feel, and that's what
I like
and you need to start being comfortable with you and what you say.
I am
because I'm comfortable with what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying things because I'm PC. I'm saying things because this is truly how I feel in that moment.
Charlamagne, I get a lot of flack from certain people for what I say. I'm comfortable defending what I say, and I'm comfortable backing what I say. I'm not saying that you're not also comfortable with what you say. And a lot of times we completely agree, and a lot of times we disagree, and that's important with this show.
And you also need to realize, and I've heard you say this before, I never forget it. You said it one time when you was taping on Common Sense a while back. You was like, you like when people are arguing with each other. That don't make for good conversation.
Wait. Explain the context of that discussion.
There was no context. You specifically said you think it's better when people are going back and forth with each other. That's not true.
I do think that it's... Well, I won't...
That's not true.
I think discussion is important. I think disagreeing is important.
Discussion.
Because it shows us how we really feel about a topic.
But guess what? If we don't disagree, that's fine too. If you ever watch ESPN First Take,
sure,
which I do, or you watch, Skip and Shannon Sharp on Fox,
sure,
they're not always disagreeing. They're just giving their opinions.
Does that worry you? Like if you guys are on the same page too much, it's just going to become kind of boring.
It's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. I think. Listen, there's a lot of things we completely agree on, and those episodes are really great too. I think
what you think sounds good doesn't sound good, my brother. That's just the truth to the matter.
That's sure. And
like
people
yelling and screaming and...
No, I don't think that sounds good.
Talking in circles. Like, that's not... Like, we can express ideas.
Again, you're saying that's what I think sounds good. That's not. And if you are interested...
So why does it constantly happen?
If you're interested, I'll tell you what I think sounds good.
So why does it constantly happen?
Why do we constantly argue about things?
No, not me. You argue with everybody.
Sure.
Including me. You argue with... There's not been somebody on this show that's come on that you haven't really argued with.
Well, it's because we have one angle of people come on the show.
That's not true.
When we have people who I think are more diverse thinkers, I don't argue with them. When Malcolm Gladwell was on the show, I didn't argue with him because I think he's a very diverse thinker.
Or maybe you're afraid of his intellect.
No. I think he's a very diverse and I think he's a very sophisticated thinker, and he doesn't have an agenda with his thinking. And those people that come on and have an agenda with their thinking, when Killer Mike was on the show, I didn't argue with him at all.
Maybe you're afraid of his intellect.
No, I don't fear intellect at all. I'm actually inspired by it. I'm wrapped up in it. When people are
So if that's the case, you should respect everyone's intellect, even if you feel like they have an agenda. Because everybody has an agenda. You have an agenda. Your agenda is to come in here and try to get both sides of the argument. That's an agenda, so
sure, absolutely.
So you should respect.
I just think that's a consistent and fair agenda.
Agendas are a part of life.
I think it's a consistent and fair agenda.
Malcolm Gladwell has an agenda, whether you believe it or not.
Absolutely.
Everybody has an agenda.
I feel when there's an agenda that is rooted in something disingenuous and inconsistency.
But who are you?
Can I finish?
To tell somebody what they believe is
disingenuous?
Because people will say the same thing about you. I'm just telling you, Schulz, and I've been communicating much longer than you, my brother. I've been on these platforms expressing myself much longer than you, and I tell you things because I feel like you could be really great. But you have to learn to properly communicate and give people the same respect that you want back. Like, why point at somebody and say you think they're disingenuous? Just hear them out.
Because I think they're disingenuous.
Okay, so when people do that to you, be prepared to handle it.
They do it to me all the time.
All right, just
you do it right here.
Be prepared to handle it.
You've done it. And I think I've handled it pretty well today. The last 15 minutes of this discussion is you saying you're a contrarian, you don't believe what you think, this, that, the other, and I'm sitting here and I'm going...
I never said you don't believe what you think. I would hope that you believe what you think. One of the reasons I still do this podcast with you is because I believe that you actually believe the things that you think. Sure. I can respect anybody as long as that's who they truly are. Yeah. What did I tell you about Tommy Lauren? I told Tommy, you know what, Tommy, if this is who you really are, then I fuck with it. I respect your freedom of speech. Yeah. If you're just somebody who's saying things for clicks and hits, there's no value in shock. Eventually, that's going to crash and burn, and I don't want to be on that motherfucking plane. We saw it with guys like Milo. I don't know how Tommy's going to end up. You see it with motherfuckers like Richard Spencer. All of these people that are just throwing down. You can go back back in the day, people like Star from Star and Buck Wild, Miss Jones, motherfuckers who just say shit for shock value. That shit crashes and burns. The people who truly last are those that are authentic, honest, and aren't afraid to get new information and even change their mind at times.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm not trying to press my ideals on nobody. Like, I'll get on the radio, I'll get on the podcast, I'll say what I need to say. If you disagree, we can have some debate about it, but I'm not, you stupid, or oh, you don't know what you're talking about, or whatever. Like,
you've said that 10 times this episode.
Because you really did sound stupid because you argued with me.
So don't say that you're not going to do something that's just go on your fucking soapbox and act like you're better than
Do you know why I called you stupid? I didn't call you stupid for what you were saying. I called you stupid for how you were acting.
It's still calling someone stupid.
Because you're acting stupid.
No, it's not. I'm acting in a way. I'm asking you questions that you don't want to answer. I'm not arguing with you.
Who didn't want to answer?
Or that you just weren't willing to answer. But look, it's fine. When you listen back to this episode, I want you to pay close attention to what you're telling me.
Do you listen back to yourself?
Of course I do. I do. Every day.
If you listen back to yourself and you haven't tried to make no improvements, then something's wrong.
Absolutely. I have listened back to myself. Matter of fact, to be honest with you, listening back to myself really helped my self-esteem with it.
Oh, because you really feel like you saying some shit and everybody else is stupid.
Not everybody else, because that's the thing. You're only getting one side of the interactions. I can't tell you how many interactions I get from people who are saying, hey, man, stay true to what you're doing. You're offering different perspective, all this kind of stuff. Like you said, a certain amount of, like you always say, a certain amount of people agree with you.
3 people not going to like it. Sure. 4 people not going to give a fuck about it. But let me tell you something about those motherfuckers. They can make you delusional. I'm going to tell you what my daddy used to always tell me.
Sure. That's why I don't put too stock in any of them.
You're never as good as they say you are, and you're never as bad as they say you are.
Absolutely.
But I think you should take all things into consideration.
Absolutely.
And being that I'm somebody that I believe we're friends, I consider you my friend.
Absolutely.
I think you should listen to your friend.
Yeah.
All right. And Chris ain't saying shit, but we have these conversations all the time.
Well, let me say something.
No, Chris, because if you ain't gonna tell the truth, there's no need for you to talk.
I'm gonna tell the truth, because I think the truth, there's 2 sides to it. I think it comes down to having a conversation versus a debate. I think if you're there are certain people out there who want to debate you. No doubt. I think most people come on this podcast to have a conversation. And if you turn every conversation into a debate, I think that's where you're going to lose people. And I think that's where you've been losing people. So I think you got to figure out, as I understand, you're trying to show both sides. You're trying to say, this is why I might not agree with it. A lot of people are very passionately against abortion. There's value to that. I'm not saying there's not value to that, but you have to figure out, this is an opportunity for a debate, and this is a conversation. And there's a way to get that information across in a conversational manner versus like, it's like it's being on trial. It's like the last episode, you were like holding the shit up. Tell me about GMOs. Well, I don't know.
And by the way, we're
not on trial.
If a lot of people are telling you the same thing over and over, Andrew Schulz is exhausting, whatever, like you shouldn't just dismiss it. You should be like, wow.
Well, what do you do when you get those comments? You get those comments a lot.
Yeah, I take them into consideration.
But
and
you don't change?
Yes, I do. What are you talking about?
You've changed who you are when people constantly talk about you in that way?
I try to look outside myself and see how can I improve on that.
Sure.
Just like when they came at me about that women of color shit. I didn't just dismiss them and be like, oh, fuck them, they don't know what they talk about. I thought about it. I'm like, damn, did I communicate that the wrong way? And you know what I learned from that situation? Because if you're not learning anything from any of this shit shows, it's pointless. What I learned from it is some things just shouldn't be communicated on Twitter. Some things just shouldn't be communicated on social media. Especially somebody like me. I have a radio show. I have a podcast. I got a TV show. I would rather, I can do viral videos. I would rather say it and explain exactly how I feel than just for you to be able to take these 140 characters out of context. So that's what I learned from that situation.
Totally.
When women have been telling me, oh, Charlamagne, you're too hard on women, or I don't like the way you talk about women, I don't just dismiss it. I'm like, damn, let me see, what am I saying? What am I saying that people are getting things misconstrued? Or what am I saying that makes people feel like I'm being offensive? I don't think you're capable of stepping outside yourself and actually really dealing with yourself, Schulz. The mirror works 2 ways. You should be able to look in the mirror and see everything that's wrong with you. You should be looking in the mirror and see everything that's right with you.
Why do you feel that way?
What you mean?
Well, why do you feel the way that you feel? You just said you don't think I'm capable of stepping outside
of myself.
But I don't think you are.
Because I don't think you even think you're doing anything wrong.
What makes you feel that way?
Because your behavior. Your actions.
Because my actions haven't
changed. You're telling me that you have listened to yourself.
Yeah.
And you haven't made any changes, then you're letting me know that.
Well, no, what I'm telling you is
you're not paying attention to yourself.
I've listened to myself, and there are certain things that I have changed. I think that.
What have you changed?
I think that there's certain things like we addressed yesterday. What I often do is when I disagree with somebody, I discredit them. And a lot of people don't know what I do in my personal life, but communication is important to me. So what I try to do is I find ways where I can communicate better. So when I disagree with somebody, a lot of times what I'll do is immediately just cut them off and discredit them. True. And it's a bad, and it was especially something that I picked up after listening back to the Angela Rye episodes. And it's a poor communication tactic I've learned, because what it does is it shifts the debate from the argument at hand to a battle of ego, right? So instead of listening to her point and going and doing what I usually do on this episode, which is you have an interesting perspective and I see how people could think that, and I want to offer you this other perspective to consider. When you cut someone off and dismiss them, they go, well, fuck this person. I'm going to prove this person wrong. So the last time Angela and I were here, during the episode, we had this kind of heated exchange that really wasn't about the issue. It was about, was Andrew Schulz right or is Angela right? And it should be about the issue.
Your argument,
it should be about the issue.
I'm glad you recognize that.
Can I finish without you?
Yes, you can. Go
trying to pile on when I'm being honest about something like that.
Though. I'm glad this is real.
So in an effort, because communication is the most important to me, in an effort to communicate better, what I've realized in the last couple weeks is when somebody says something, even if I disagree immediately, find some kind of core value that I could empathize with in that statement. And then let them know that I'm not discrediting their entire opinion. And then responding with my own, right? Which is what I was doing, what I at least attempted to do during our abortion argument, which is, hey, I agree with you and I would make the same decision you made in those 3 situations. But what I'm also asking you is, what do you think, or when do you think a life is allowed to be taken? Now, I think there was some miscommunication in what you wanted from me. I think you thought I was trying to debate you or argue with you. I was just really interested in your...
You did.
Well, I think
when you listen back.
If we listen back, maybe we'll have different opinions. But again, I'm always looking for better ways that I can communicate this, that, the other. But in terms of my opinion and how I believe about something and how I feel about something, I don't come on this show just with some frivolous, I'm going to throw it out there shit. Like, the people that listen to this show are important to me, whether they disagree with me or they don't. And it is important to me that they get information that I think is somewhat vetted and somewhat real. And sometimes I get so passionate about them not hearing fake things, or how about them not being influenced by fake things, that I can kind of cut you off. Like I cut you off last time about the taxes thing because I was upset, because I was like, here, I felt you were villainizing these people.
I was.
And I felt like you weren't in the position to villainize them because in a lot of ways you were doing something similar to them. So I thought it was hypocritical. So in that knee-jerk reaction, did I react poorly and not communicate as well as I could have? Yes. But does it come from this place of, man, we got 250,000 people listening to this shit and they mean a lot to me and they've changed my life in a lot of ways, and I want them to get information that I think is the most truthful, even if I'm giving both sides of it.
Well, it's simple. You should start listening with the intent to understand and not reply all the time, because you hate when people do exactly what you.
That's
you
true.
hate what people.
That's
You hate when people do that to you. What
Yeah.
you said you hate. What you said you hate. You do to other people. You hate when people do that.
You're
to you.
100% right.
Your favorite line is, "No, let me finish. Let me finish.
You're
Let me finish."
100% right, yeah.
Like, let the person talk.
You're 100% right.
Then you talk. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I respect the fact that you want to find common ground in what somebody says, but you don't even have to do that. All you have to do is just actually listen to what the person said and then reply. That's it.
And that's a conversation versus a debate.
That's
basically.
it.
I personally enjoy debate. It gets me excited to debate.
I know, but
I
that's
come
the
from a
thing is,
sports
like,
background.
I like
competition.
debating when it makes sense. I don't
Or
like
when
debating.
you have someone who's wants to debate you.
You know what was really unfortunate is that after the second Angela Rye episode, Angela and I had this really interesting discussion when we were in the office that was off
Angela
air.
said she's never doing the podcast again.
Yeah, a lot of people asked for her to never do it again. Actually.
No, that's not true. People want her to do her own podcast.
It is. And I'm sure.
And honestly, people were hitting me. I mean, I can show you literally hundreds. Tweets, texts.
Sure.
Don't ever have Angela on the podcast with Andrew.
Sure,
That's beneath her.
I got
and the reason they said it was beneath her is because they felt like you weren't even respecting her enough to have a conversation.
Sure. And I totally understand that, and I think that makes sense. And I think that, what I was basically trying to say is that we had this really good discussion afterwards, and it was just about like legalization of drugs. Let me just get the point out, Charlamagne. It was a legalization of drugs, and it was like, wow, this is, and that's where it hit me. It was like, wow, we could have had this Eric Holder Attorney General discussion with the same level, the same listening, the same kind of care and concern, and I took responsibility for that. I was like, man, I fucked up with that. I should have been more empathetic, and I should have been more concerned with her opinion, and then respected her opinion more off the bat, and she would have maybe respected mine when I put that olive branch out first. And I have a responsibility as a host of this show to do that to a guest, to make them feel comfortable and willing. And it was one of those things that it really, and this is before any comments or any SoundCloud comments or Twitter comments. This is right after the actual episode. I'm not reacting to Twitter or fucking Instagram. I don't care about that shit. Okay, I believe in what the fuck I say, so that's unwavering. What bothered me is, man, we could have got good information out to these people who listen every single week, and I was responsible for them not getting good information. Now I got to sit with that,
and I really feel
every week I got to sit with that.
And I feel like
fuck up,
I feel like you and Andrew had a better conversation. I mean, you and Angela had a better conversation after the podcast was over.
That's what I'm referring to.
Because it was less of an audience.
Oh, dude,
I feel
so
like
much.
you know that people are watching, and you're the one with the ego who thinks somebody's checking you. You're Marty McFly, bro. If you think somebody calling you chicken, you go crazy. But it's for no reason. People respect you. I fuck with you. You're my guy. If I didn't respect you, I wouldn't say, you know what, we need to get Andrew to do the podcast 2 years ago. If I didn't respect you, I wouldn't be like, yo, Schulz, where you at tonight? I fuck you, my friend. You was at my fucking wedding. So I respect you. So what I'm telling you is, you have to stop thinking that people think you're an idiot, people think you're chicken, people think you're pussy. Like, you have to check the ego.
But I don't think that people think any of those things about me.
Well, you think people are trying you?
No.
I think that when it's less of an audience, you're more capable of having a conversation.
I think
when you know there's a bunch of people listening, like on this podcast, or it's people around, like a lot of people around.
Sure.
You're alt-right Andy.
I think both of us. I think that doesn't help also when you add into that kind of hysteria. But I put up with it. But yeah, I don't think it.
I mean, the reason I add into it because that's my technique. My technique when somebody is coming at me is I just fuck it. I am whatever you say I am. I'm Eminem.
I think it protects you. I think it protects you because it distances yourself from me, and I think that.
So what about when I be like Charlamagne who hates black women? I jump on there and say that. You know, the first thing and maybe this is a problem of mine. I'm gonna be honest with you because I'm the type person like with the Revolt TV shit, right? When I read that shit yesterday, I laughed. I said what I said. First thing I did when I got on the radio this morning was say, "Welcome to the Breakfast Club, the home of black privilege and reverse racism." And I was like, I was saying crack ass cracker. Like I'll start acting like whatever it is you're accusing me of.
Sure, you owned it.
I could be wrong. I could be dead wrong for that.
Sure.
Maybe I should take the opposite approach, but that's just the way I deal with things. Like if you are stupid enough to believe this is what I really am about, I'm going to give it to you. To me, that's satire. I could be wrong about that, though. That could be a flaw of mine.
Sure. No, I think it's a great way of handling it. I just think I have to be a little bit more cautious than you can.
But you my friend. So if you my friend, you understand you're not just wearing this.
No, but...
Motherfuckers is coming at me like,
I know.
Dump Schulz. Get rid of Schulz. How could you be
course.
Friends with a white supremacist?
Sure.
Yada, 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 this and that. I'm like, that's my guy. All right, Andy.
I think to be honest, I don't think you maybe get enough credit for... I don't think my opinions are intolerant in any way, shape, or form. I think that they're positioned to be intolerant by people who are searching for victimization. But I think that you don't get enough credit for tolerating people's perceived anger at me.
Because I know you.
Because you know me. But at the same time, regardless if you know me or not, you still put up with it. You still get shit. People are going to message you and say, how could he have this opinion on this? How could he have that opinion on that? Absolutely. Now, to a much lesser extent, do I get these tweets and emails about you? Absolutely. I have people, saying on the opposite end, blah, 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 Charlamagne this, or he's being, soft about
stupid.
this.
Charlamagne doesn't listen. Yada, 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 whatever.
Exactly. Now, I know you and I believe in you, and that doesn't affect me. But I understand that it's a different relationship as a black dude when you are in some way looking to support this white guy with these views that because people aren't intelligent and people don't understand.
But you can't say that.
No, if anybody who thinks that about me is unintelligent.
That's not true. I know some very intelligent people who say this about
unintelligent human beings.
It's not true, man.
Or people who aren't listening.
I know some people that you think are intelligent who think this about you.
Or people who aren't listening with the intent to understand.
Or maybe you could be saying some fucked up shit.
And if we had a single conversation, if they had a single actual conversation with me, if these are people who actually have hung out with me and actually know who I am, and they're not taking a tweet off of the fucking internet, they're not taking a meme, like you say, out of context off of the internet and stuff like that. If they actually hung out with me and we chilled, they would know exactly how I feel.
But that's your fault. Like when you posted that shit about the Migos and Ellen, our friends, from Van to Lil Duval, what the fuck wrong with Andrew?
See, that's funny because what the fuck's wrong with Andrew because of the actual opinion, or what the fuck's wrong with Andrew because
the opinion?
Well, no, because I had Van hit me up and say the exact. He was like, "No, I get what you're saying."
Maybe did he say I get what you're saying and then proceed to explain why you were wrong about that?
Well, no, I still don't think I'm wrong about it.
But did he explain to you why he thinks you were wrong about it? How you went about it the wrong way?
I don't want to put words in Van's mouth because I don't remember the exact conversation. I was in L.A. I was smoking a lot of weed.
Either everybody's lying to me then. But if Van did that to you, I'm pretty sure Van did what you said you should do. Take one thing from the situation that you can agree with, and then give your explanation. Then it's received better.
Well, I think what I learned now...
Van told me about you, and I should call Van now. He said, man, I saw Andrew Schulz's stand-up, and he said Andrew is so motherfucking talented. Like, extremely talented. Better than, he said, you killed 3 comics that was on the show with you. And he said, which makes me feel like he doesn't have to resort to the antics I feel that he's doing. That's what he said to me.
I had a great talk with Van about it, and
I said, well, why don't you call him and tell him that? Because my thing is, don't call and tell me.
Yeah.
Call and tell the person you're talking about that. I'm like that with everything. Call and tell him. If you care about him, call and tell him.
Sure.
So he called you and said that.
He called me. Basically, he was very complimentary. You know, he was just really sweet. And then he said, he's like, "This is my concern." He goes, "My concern is that the things that you could say on the show would inhibit people from seeing your stand-up," which I saw. And then, I mean, I don't want to say the thing that he said, but it was like, you know, where he put me up with the comics that he put me up there with was, you know, it was incredibly gracious compliment. You know, and I'll be honest with you, in my heart, I believe that about myself. You know what I mean? I believe there's only a handful of people in the world that could do what I do on stage.
I agree. So, I think you're incredible on stage.
But now, and it really touched me, and it was like, wow. People could not, because what I do on the podcast isn't the A material. I save all the A material I don't put material on the podcast. We just have conversation. My material is on stage. You know what I mean? But it's like, and he made me think. I go, fuck, man. I could be inhibiting people from seeing me at my best, like from seeing what I do best in this world, just because of opinions I have on a podcast and
on Twitter.
And on Twitter.
You don't want to get lumped in.
I've changed Twitter.
You don't want to get lumped in with the Richard Spencers and Milos and Thomas,
I've changed Twitter. I've changed on Twitter because, like you said, there's no context to it.
None.
On the podcast, at least I could talk it out. And yes, there's going to be a certain amount of people that just because I have this certain opinion are going to hate me because they're taught to hate a certain opinion without thinking about it. But then there's going to be a certain amount of people who go, oh, okay, I disagree with him, but I understand that opinion.
Story of my life, bro.
There we go. Totally
understand. Story of my life.
So I've stopped that on Twitter. I've stopped doing shit that can be taken out of context on Twitter or Instagram because it's just not fair. That being said, I'm not going to change opinions that I've researched and feel strongly about and really truly feel like it will help people. I know a lot of times people will disagree about me about certain things in the world, but you have to understand, I've thought about this a lot, and in my heart, I feel like it will truly help people more if we do this.
Listen,
and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
I'm not telling you, I'm not knocking you for your opinion. I'm knocking you for knocking everybody else's opinion.
Some opinions are bad.
That's an opinion.
No, but like, I'm just saying Germans want to kill all the Jews. That's a bad opinion. I'm going to knock that.
No, I don't think that's an opinion. That's morally wrong. Like, killing all the Jews, you can't do that.
That's what an opinion is. It's like, look, people have opinions on things, and we knock them. I have opinions on things, and the bad opinions, the bad ideas in the world, you have to stop. The only weapon we have against bad ideas is our voice. Okay? Once you silence us, once you silence our ability to take away bad ideas and we start silencing our ability to critique things, we have no weapon against bad ideas. Like freedom of speech.
You do realize bad ideas don't grow, right?
Bad ideas are a cancer.
But they don't grow.
They grow.
They grow. Listen, watch. Like, look at the people.
Slavery started out as an idea, and other people started talking about it.
It didn't grow.
It grew around the world.
Yeah, but it stopped.
The triangle slave trade.
And eventually it came to an end, just like all
Why did it come to an end?
Do.
Why did it come to an end? Because somebody else had an idea that it was wrong.
It is wrong.
Well, of course it's wrong. But they spread that idea that it's wrong. They spread that idea it's wrong. And more people start to realize, holy shit, this is wrong. And let's keep spreading that idea. We want good ideas to be just as cancerous as bad ideas.
You're right. But let's not even go use that extreme because people will lose the whole point of the conversation.
Sure. Fair.
All right. Hold on one second. Let's pause this and get back to the exorcism of alt-right, Andy. Support for this week's episode of Brilliant Idiots.
Is it going to be that?
I don't know if it's going to
It might be earlier.
It might be early.
Support for this week's episode of Brilliant Idiots is brought to you by Stamps.com. Okay, you can get everything on demand these days, like this podcast. You listen when you want, when it's convenient for you. So why are you still going to the post office and dealing with their limited hours when you can get postage on demand with Stamps.com? Anything you can do at the post office, you can do right now from your desk with Stamps.com. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter or package using your own computer and printer.
And unlike the post office, Stamps.com never closes, okay? So you can get postage whenever you need it. It's 24/7, all right? Going to the post office is brutal. Yes, maybe the customer service could be a little bit better. There's some very nice ladies at the one that I go to over at 11th Street and 4th Avenue. I think very, very, very beautiful and interesting and supportive. But there's a long fucking line and everybody messes up their packages. Point is, right now you could use our code IDIOTS for this special offer, a 4-week trial, including postage and a digital scale. A digital scale, okay? I'm not telling you what to do with that. You do with that what you want. I'm not judging you, okay? Just don't wait. Go to Stamps.com, and before you do anything else, click on the radio microphone at the top of the homepage and type in idiots. That's Stamps.com and enter code idiots. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again.
Let's keep it at the Milos, the Tommies, the Richard Spencers.
Yes.
Anybody that does shit with shock value.
Sure.
All that shit crashes.
Charlamagne Tha God.
I don't do shock value.
You
There's no
have
value in
shock.
No.
I want to suck a fart out your ass is not normal fucking dinner talk.
But I've sucked farts out of asses.
Okay.
Like...
Doesn't mean it's not shocking.
Like put it like this. You know why I started saying I'll suck a fart out your butt?
Why is that?
Because remember that old saying, I used to drink your bathwater?
Yeah.
That's really disgusting if you think.
Wait,
like
you
that.
sucked a fart out of someone's ass?
Yes.
Who?
My wife.
She farted and you sucked it out with your mouth.
You never been back to eating that pussy and that shit queef and you like, ooh.
That's not a fart.
It's a pussy fart. Like
You ain't suck no fart out nobody's ass. You're saying it for shock value, which
no,
is
I'm
fine.
not. It's like I try to take older things and like and update them slang wise, right? Sure. So drink your bath water is some nasty shit. Suck a fart out of the butt is some nasty shit.
And
but it's just showing how beautiful this person is.
Absolutely. And it's meant to be funny and shocking.
I'm not going to say, you look so good, I'll suck your daddy's dick. That's just too far.
Well, that's just for Biggie.
That's just too far. And Richard Pryor.
Fair enough. Look, I think that shock is important. I think it's important and it's
when it's
funny.
Truth. See, Howard Stern is the king who they call a shock jock, but all Howard Stern did historically was tell the truth. That's why all the people around him that tried to imitate him fell off.
Of course.
Opie and Anthony.
Because they didn't believe
Bubba the Love Sponge. It was doing shocking shit that wasn't real.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, and I completely agree with you on that. You have to be able to back up what you say. You know, shit is shocking contextually.
Truth is shocking.
If we go to fucking Afghanistan and a girl shows her kneecap, that's shocking. Right? She pulled her little thing up and her knees show. Oh my God, that girl's so shocking. Right? In America, you have to do a little bit more crazy stuff to be shocking. But if you if you truly believe in what you're saying, like we do, then it's shocking to you, but not for me.
Bro, I say it all the time. Truth. Whenever people interview me, it's like this is something that I've had to think about over the past 4 or 5 years. I never thought about it before. Mm-hmm. When people started branding me a certain way and saying certain things, I'm like, shock jock. Why am I a shock jock? I ain't never took nobody and put them in a cathedral and told them to fuck each other. I don't have girls in here having sex, eating each other's pussy on air.
It justifies their lameness.
Because I tell somebody that their album is whack, that's shocking?
No.
Because I look Kanye in his eyes and tell him that his album's whack, that's shocking?
No. But that I think when they label you as a shock jock, it's so that they themselves as radio show hosts are more comfortable with what they do. So it's like in comedy, the way I would relate it to is, oh, you're a dirty comic. You're a filthy comic. And it's their way of justifying your success and their lack thereof. Oh, if I wanted to say suck a fart out of someone, then I'd be just as successful as Charlamagne. That's the reason why he's successful, because he's so shocking. I could do that too, but I'm a good Christian and I would never do, or whatever, yada, yada, yada. People need justifications for their lack of success. And in this situation, they'll say, you're shocking. That's why you're successful. I think intelligent people will look at you and they'll go, no, success is not about him being shocking at all. It's probably about truthfulness into what he's saying and a genuineness into what he's saying.
I like the term
superior intellect.
I like the term often controversial. I'm cool with that.
Sure.
Because guess what? Everybody's not going to agree with your opinions, and I'm fine with that. And who knows? I might say some shit that's dead regular to me that people do consider shocking. But whatever. I'm not purposely approaching the mic trying to say things to shock people.
Yeah, because that's corny.
And that's how you get in trouble. That's when the bullshit comes.
Bro, we always talk about it. It's like, believe in what you say, back up what you say.
Like, motherfuckers is like, how do you continue to grow, and how come this doesn't affect you? And it's because I'm not saying anything that's crazy. I'm really not. I'm just giving my honest opinions on shit, period.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not against people. I listen to all sides. I can understand why this person feels that way. I'm for good, period. evil shit, I don't fuck with. If it seems evil to me, I'm not fucking with it.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about it. I talk out about this administration because this administration just seems evil to me. This isn't regular conservative shit that we've been dealing with for years. Not in my eyes, anyway. So I speak out about it. If that's shocking to people or controversial, so be it. I'm just telling you.
I don't think that's what they think is shocking. I think sucking a fart out of someone's butt is shocking.
Well, that's trivial to me then. I guess I get it, but it's like, okay. And I don't even really say that anymore because I'm married with kids.
But you can't say it. Don't let these people call you something and label you something and make them stop you from saying it.
But I don't want to say it.
Like people say, oh, fucking alt-right Andy to me on Twitter, but that's not going to stop me from having an opinion that, first of all, would never be alt-right because I've openly criticized the alt-right movement and Richard Spencer and all these fucking douchebags I openly criticize. That being said, if I agree with a conservative policy, one thing does not mean that I'm okay with all conservative policies. But I might agree with one thing, absolutely.
And I'm with you. And when I make the decision to say stop sucking the fart out of his butt, because it don't feel right to me anymore.
There you go. That's genuine.
Like I'll never become a caricature of myself. And that's like, to me, that's how I'm putting the button on the whole conversation and the button on the podcast. I just don't want you to become a caricature of yourself.
Absolutely.
Because you're better than that. And that's the truth of the matter.
Sure.
You're smarter than that. You're funnier than that. You don't have to say things just to shock people or to get a rise out of people. You don't have to have debate just for something to be entertaining.
I don't think I'm entertained by it. I like debating people. That is joy. Like when Tariq was coming here and you told me at like fucking 11:30 the night before, I was up till 4 a.m. listening to his interviews and like really kind of putting together talking points and I was excited by it. I was really excited.
He's
by
a debater. Y'all wanted to have a debate.
I think what I get caught up in, I think when it comes unproductive, and this is something that I've noticed about myself. This is something I'm wanting to change. And I wasn't effective at doing it today, but it's something I want to, is when the debate stops going anywhere, like what happened with our abortion conversation.
Disengage.
Exactly. Regardless if I've gotten where I want to go with it or that person has gotten where they want to go with it, to just know that it's stuck in the mud and be like, and that's where let go of my ego and let go of that maybe insecurity of being misunderstood or not getting my point across, to just let go of it and go, all right, well, let's just move on and have another discussion.
Because the listener loses.
Because the listener,
exactly. And speaking of the loser,
and that's my insecurity about not being understood or not being put out in the right light. And I got to stomach that shit and go, no, dude, you're good enough. You're a good enough person.
You're right. Both of y'all are right. And speaking of the listener, the information has already been dispensed. You say what you need to say,
make their
and
decision.
let the listener come to their own decision.
Yes. Right.
Like, you're not going to change anybody's mind. Like, it's out there. Continue the conversation later. Maybe the next podcast. Or somebody tweets you. You can tweet them directly or whatever. Just it's gone. It's done.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's no rules to this. We can always come back to things when we have new opinions, etc.
And there are no wins.
We've been talking about rape for 2 years.
I think you're looking for wins.
We've been talking about rape for 2 years.
There is no win either. I think it's a it's an ego thing. It's something I'm aware of, and I try to, and I have been trying to get better at, because ultimately I want this to be the biggest podcast in the world. That's what means the most to me.
And by the way, there's gonna be people that listen to this, and they're like, you know what? I fuck with Schulz again.
Sure.
Because you're being honest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is not a character right now.
Yeah.
This is Schulz being 100% real, stripped down. We have these two friends having a real conversation about each other. That's how I've always lived my life. That's how I've always chosen to do radio, because it's the easiest thing in the world. When you wake up in the morning and whatever's on your mind, I can't do it no other way. Like, they was calling me yesterday, telling me not to talk about this revolt shit. I'm like, there's no way. I told iHeartRadio, there's no way in hell I am not talking about this. These motherfuckers are out here slandering my character, slandering my name, and straight up lying on me. And I'm just going to let that ride. Whether or not I can change people's opinions or not, it don't matter. At least I got my shit out.
And also, you're, like you said earlier, you're giving them the information.
And letting them make their own decisions. Now you got two.
I think that's where I will hopefully evolve into, which is, instead of like trying to make you feel a certain way, feeling good just cooking a dinner. Like, I can't force you to eat it. But
no,
if I
you don't care what people think about it. You did the best you could do.
Yeah, I did the best I did making the meal.
Whether you like it or not, that's not on you.
You might not even eat it.
Food for thought. Let them do their own dishes.
If
I'm
food for thought, let them do their own dishes.
Let them do their own food for thought. Let them do their own dishes. Yeah, true. I think that will be I think the next evolution. Hopefully for me, and And yeah, I'm glad that you guys brought it up, to be honest with you. I just like genuine, honest conversations. You know, I mean, I've always liked that. And I'm not afraid of other people's opinions. I'm not really afraid of people liking me or disliking me. That's not, I've learned that doesn't give you any value in this world. If you're addicted to people liking you and approving of what you do, then you'll be a, for lack of a better word, slave to their likes and approval. And I need to be an independent thinker. And I value truth more than anything, and I literally will pay money for this truth. I know that sometimes it costs me money to have my opinions and give these opinions to these people on this podcast in terms of opportunity. I know that, and I'm willing to pay that so that they can have these thoughts, whether they like them or fucking dislike them. It really is important to me to give these things to these people.
Me too.
Man.
I want people to learn.
And you do it all. People don't realize, but like there are certain opportunities that you probably missed out because you care about truth and you care about giving these people truth.
Know.
Say what?
I'm naive to that shit. I'm the guy that says I never experienced overt racism. So
no, but not like that. But I'm sure there's somebody who's like, I don't know if we can have Charlamagne do this. He might say something crazy, and that is the cost. Freedom of speech ain't free. It's very expensive. Mm-hmm. But understand that like while I can always get better at communicating these thoughts and like understanding what, like you said, when to disengage and that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's coming from a place of, man, I want to give the people this truth, man, because some people might be misinformed. Or
but
I just want to give them all of it. Yeah,
now
please,
that we're putting it out there.
Please.
Now you want to tell the truth, Chris? Since Chris finally wants to be honest, go ahead, Chris.
All right, yeah. So the point I was going to say is, I think you are trying to shine light and truth, but I think where you've gotten off track is I think you've kind of become obsessed with revealing the hypocrisies of what you consider to be liberals. And if I can do like a psychological breakdown on you, I think you're disappointed in liberals right now because of what happened.
All of us are. Liberals are disappointed in liberals.
Right.
I think you're making an interesting point. Go.
This is what I feel. I feel you're disappointed in what you perceive to be liberals and you've decided to really go after them. I think in your heart of heart, you think you're helping them by going after them. But I think you've really decided you're going to show all these lefties what their flaws are. And my whole thing is, now's not the time to be doing that. We have, like if you can talk.
I don't know if I agree with that, Chris. Well, I think there's anything wrong.
I think his argument, though, is this
is what I'm saying.
Is now not the time because.
I don't think
or spread it around, because I'm like, if you really want to show the hypocrisy of some people,
do it to everybody.
I want to hear about Wall Street guys. I want to hear about corporate guys. I don't want to just hear about like rappers and identity, social justice warriors.
And I told you that a few weeks ago.
Like the left, we got flaws. It's not perfect. There's hypocrisy. But like to keep beating that drum when all this other shit is going on, that's what concerns me.
And I told you that a few weeks ago. I said people hear that and they think that
then that's where you get alt-right.
Yeah, alt-right. People think you're only against liberals. You're only against things that are black, yada.
I think, well, first of all, I've never been against anything that's black. I make this point over and over again. It's misconstrued and conflated. But I think what a lot of times happens in this situation is that, we have one type of guest that comes onto the show, and
but these are your tweets though.
Yeah, but right now we're talking about the show.
I'm talking about the show.
But in general, I'm just talking about things that
we have one type of guest that comes onto the show. We have often a very left-leaning liberal guest, and when we have a more central guest like a Malcolm Gladwell, I tend to agree with him very much. And then when we talk about right-wing people, when we talk about the Tommy Lahrens and we talk about the Richard Spencers, I destroy them and expose their hypocrisy and expose how awful they are. Yes, as somebody who's a lifelong liberal, I'm embarrassed to see what liberals have become. I don't relate to it like I used to. I was proud to be liberal, proud to be progressive, and always on the forefront my entire life of tolerance and understanding. And I think it's important to extend that tolerance and understanding to opinions that you might not essentially agree with.
That's the only way we grow, baby.
Exactly, but at least try to understand why a conservative might feel that way about taxes, or try to understand why a conservative might feel that way about abortion or religion, these types of things, because I think that's what liberals do. I think at deep down, tolerance is what brings people in. Like, America has been tolerant of other cultures. I mean, obviously, we have tons of racism and systemic oppression, but we've been tolerant of other cultures in terms of letting them into this country and letting them foster and grow. Like, that's the idea of America. You know, my mom's an immigrant. Like, immigrants come here.
Yeah, but the hypocrisy being presented from the other side is so much more dangerous.
Chris, I'm going to be honest with you. You just ruined the whole conversation. You derailed everything. You just,
I'm bringing it back. But my point is, that's how you get alt-right Andy. If all we hear is you beating up on the left and you're not applying any of that logic and that breakdown to the right.
That's a good point.
If we discussed,
that's what I'm saying.
That's a good point.
Like I told you guys, I got in touch with Richard Spencer. I wanted to bring him on the show and I wanted to destroy him. Yep. I wanted to debate him.
And why did I tell you
wanted
that you shouldn't
to
do
annihilate him. Now, you both said no. I emailed the guy. He was down to come on. You guys said no.
Well, what did I tell you why?
I'll say, you said you don't want to create a platform for these ideas.
And I said that you should focus on yourself. Because I'm going to tell you something, Andrew. This I don't really have much to say. They've been wanting me to have these conversations with you for months. They're like, oh, do an intervention with Andrew and have us call in. And I'm like, that's not real. I'm not staging something. If y'all think my guy really has a problem, if y'all are really concerned about my guy, one day it's going to be a genuine conversation. Yeah. And I've been texting you or we'll talk and I'll tell you little things.
Sure.
I told you about Richard Spencer. Andrew, you need to work on yourself first.
Sure.
Before you destroy Richard Spencer, you need to destroy this alt-right Andy character or whatever that people think you are. Like, worry about your perception. The thing that you wanted to do with Richard Spencer, you did the exact opposite with somebody like Angela. Somebody like Angela is your chance to show that you aren't attacking all liberals or you aren't attacking all women. You have the ability to sit down and have a conversation with a liberal. Destroying Richard Spencer ain't shit. But doing what Chris just said, showing that you're not always attacking the liberals and the left, you had the opportunity to do that, and you ended up kind of attacking the liberals and the left, and you put a cherry on what everybody been saying about you the past couple of months.
100% right.
So,
I guess my feeling with Spencer was that it would provide some balance. It would go, oh shit. He just doesn't like these extreme beliefs on both sides. He's very centered because when I go on Fox News, they think I'm this diehard liberal lefty.
I believe that.
Like literally, when I told them I was just on Fox News last week and I wore the Brilliant Idiot ski mask the whole episode. But when I was on there, I even said that, and I was like, it's funny because I get positioned as this like right wing guy on my podcast, and then they go, "You right wing? What are you talking?" Like they couldn't even fathom that I'm this right wing guy, and it's in my heart. What that says to me is I am very centered. Like the extreme left, I disagree with. The extreme right, I disagree with. I guess I want to show the podcast listeners, I want to give them a taste of what it's like when I destroy an extreme right guy. And I wanted to, and I want to take this motherfucker down, and I want to like hang him in public square.
Bro.
But I understood, and it took me a day. And you guys said, I don't think that we should give him a platform for these ideas. And at first, I didn't like it, and I felt like you guys were kind of against me, and I felt like we only have one type of guest on the show, and it doesn't, and it positions to me to look like this guy who's intolerant. And then after a day, I go, you know what? They're making a good point. Why would we provide a platform for this guy's hate? Even if we are ripping him apart, it's not worth the 50 people that might listen to him and actually go, hey, maybe this guy does have
or it's not worth, God forbid, you sitting here having a conversation with him, and he may say something you agree with. And then you like, you know what? You got a point. And then motherfuckers take that one little part.
Because you can't help but be,
They take that one part to reinforce everything they always feel about you.
I just felt like I needed, I felt like I definitely needed something like that.
That's going for the win again. You don't need the, you wanted the W. You don't need the W.
I did want the W.
You don't need the W.
And I did, and I'm glad that you guys had the foresight to not expose that. I guess we just have to find a balance where it's like, if my natural feeling is to shun the extreme versions of both sides, but we're only bringing on the extreme version of the left, I have to find a way.
Just say it. No. Explain it all. Listen, man, I'm sorry to say, yes, there's a lot of stupid motherfuckers out here. And you do have to hold their hand and explain it.
Yeah.
Like right now, you see it all the time. It'll be Charlamagne's and Uncle Tom. Then it'll be a white person saying Charlamagne's racist. Yeah. How the fuck could I be a racist to a white person, but an Uncle Tom to black people? You know why? Simply because I'm not caught in a bubble. Yes, we're having a conversation about Donald Trump. I don't like Trump, but I damn sure want to know how the fuck he pays less taxes.
Sure.
What the fuck is wrong with that?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Oh, you being a coon. Why are you defending Steve Harvey? First of all, Steve Harvey's my guy, and it's not even a defense needed. Steve Harvey told y'all that y'all need to respect the position of the president.
Yeah.
Not respect Donald Trump.
Right.
Respect that position.
Right.
You can't threaten the fucking president, you stupid motherfucker.
Right. Just because you want less taxes doesn't mean you believe in grabbing pussies.
Exactly.
And I think that's where shit gets conflated. And even for me as well, just because I might believe in this one, support this one conservative thing, or like just because I think that we might need more police to keep the kids safe in Chicago, doesn't mean that I'm supportive of systemic oppression and police shooting black people at all. So, yes, things get conflated. I think this was a really cool talk. I
think it was a great conversation.
Cool, yeah. I'm glad we got it out.
I think this is a conversation everybody wanted. And like I told y'all, Van, Chris, it was going to genuinely happen when it was supposed to happen. Because I've been telling Andrew little things here and there, blah, blah, blah. But I knew that eventually we was going to have the full conversation. And it was going to come from a real place. I'm not going to force it. Let's do the intervention of Andrew Schulz.
No. And I think what's interesting about this intervention is like, I prefer it to come from people who know me. It's like, at least what I'm understanding about this is you guys are coming from this position of, hey, you're being misunderstood. Like, you guys know who I am. People are getting a version of you that isn't you.
You're being misunderstood, and you're scaring us a little because I don't know if you're really fucking crazy. Like, what the fuck is something wrong? Is something wrong? Everybody seems concerned. Is something really wrong with Andrew? Like,
no, I need better PR. It's like, you know what I'm saying? No, but it's like. No, it's like Muslims and shit with the terrorists. You know what I mean? It's like people thinking all these Muslims are terrorists. It's like, fucking no, they're not terrorists at all. But you got a couple of these Muslims that are making it bad for everybody. So I need to make sure that my terroristic views don't overshadow my religion of peace.
And what you did with this podcast is what you wanted to do with Richard Spencer. Ooh. You wanted to show
that's interesting
another side of yourself and show that you aren't this guy,
right?
And they know you're not. They've said they've watched the change.
Yeah.
This isn't like you started like this. They've watched the change. Mm-hmm. And we all, listen, man, all of us have gone through changes over the past 18 months. America just went to a totally different place. We all know that. Everybody went through something. Everybody's dealing with different emotions. We're dealing with different emotions now with the Trump administration. I have never seen America this polarizing. I've never seen America this racist, this sexist, everything, this homophobic. Like, I don't know where we're at right now. I just know where we need to be. And where we need to be is what we're doing right now. A black person, a white person, an Asian guy having a conversation, you know what I'm saying, about each other in life and communicating with each other and getting past our misunderstandings, getting past the prejudgments, the stereotypes, whatever. Like, that's what we all should be doing more of.
Amen. I think that's a good button to the podcast.
So if you listen to this podcast, you think we're smart, you think we're intelligent, you think we're brilliant, you're absolutely right. If you listen to this podcast, you think we're just a couple of idiots who don't know shit, you're right too. It's the Brilliant Idiots Podcast. Thank you for listening.